Let's consider this question. Write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that passes through -3, 4, and 5, -3. So we have 2 points, and we want to write the equation of the line, and we want to do it in slope-intercept form that passes through these 2 points. So you have 2 points. There's a line drawn. It goes through the 2 points. The question is, what is that equation in slope-intercept form? Well, I want to do it 2 ways. And you can kind of pick what you think is better, but let's do it using straight up slope-intercept form first. Now, of course, you do have to find the slope first. So the slope formula is this. So we're going to find the slope of the line first. Now, a lot of people do this the other way around. In other words, they put the y1 here and the y2 there and the x1 here and the x2 there. It doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent. In other words, if you use this version, you need to use this version down here. So if you go y2 minus y1, you better go x2 minus x1 down here, so forth and so on. So either one of those doesn't really matter. I usually use this one, but I was working with somebody recently and they were in an they were in a geometry class and they were doing this. Anyway, here we go. So this is x1, this is y1, this is x2 over here, and this is y2. So anyway, if I put this in, I'm going to go y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So I'm subtracting the 2 y's. Here we go. So -3 minus 4 on the top. So the y's do have to go on the top. So that's a -3 minus 4. And now I'm going to do the x's, and I'm doing this version. So I'm going to go x2 minus x1. So that's 5 minus -3 on the bottom. So let's do the math. -3 minus 4 is -7. And 5 minus a -3, the minus a negative, if you take away a negative, that's essentially a positive. So this is going to become +8. So the slope is -7 over 8. That is the slope for this equation. So I could go ahead and write this. Y equals -7/8 x plus b. So I'm almost there. I have slope-intercept form. I just don't have that right now. So I need that value. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do is use one of these points. And it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use this one or you can use that one. And you have an x and a y. And it doesn't really matter that they have little ones beside those. This is an x and this is a y. And again, it doesn't really matter that it has the little 2's there. So you can just put one of those x's here and one of the y's there. Now, if you use this, you need to use that x and that y. If you use this one, you need to use that x and that y. You can't mix and match. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So let me pull this up just a tad here. And so I'm going to have, I need to be able to see the point. I guess I'll use this point. So I'll go ahead and write this here. So I'm going to use that point. So as I pull this up, I'm going to put the y, this y, right there. And notice I'm putting this x right there. And I'm solving for b. So to solve for b, I am going to do this multiplication here. And this is where a lot of people mess up. I'm multiplying an integer times a fraction. And when you do that, you want to treat this as -3 over 1 and just multiply straight across. So that becomes 21 over 8. So you don't multiply the -3 times the 8. Though if I had $1 for every time I'd seen that, I could take us all to lunch. Anyway, so I'm solving for b. So if you're solving for b and 21 over 8 is being added to it, you want to subtract. (21 over 8 from both sides, and notice that these are going to cancel. So I'll just have b there. B is left over. So it's 4 minus 21 over 8. Now we're going to subtract those fractions. You can do that a number of ways. What I'm going to do is to multiply by 8 over 8 over here. That way I'll have a common denominator of 8. So I changed this 4 over 1 to 32 over 8. Now, 32 over 8 is 4, but now I have an 8 here, so I can subtract these. So when you add and subtract fractions, you have to have a least common denominator. So I multiplied by 8 over 8. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 1 is 8. Anyway, what's 32 minus 21? What is that, 11? So 32 minus 21. Yeah, 11. So b equals 11 over 8. So my final answer here is going to be y equals, and I need the slope, which was, what was the slope? Negative 7/8. So I had to go back and look at that. See, the slope was negative 7/8. So negative 7/8. So the slope was negative 7/8. And notice now I have the y-intercept over here. So that is my answer. So that is the slope-intercept form for the equation that goes through those 2 points. And that's how I would do it. But let me back up and show you another way, because I do see people doing it this way. And I'm going to write these points down here because I don't want to have to keep going back up to the top every single time. So the points were negative 3, 4. And what else? 5, negative 3. So negative 3, 4, and 5, negative 3. Now, you're going to calculate the slope the same way, so I'm not going to redo that. So the slope was negative 7/8, and you do that exactly like we just did it. But this time, I'm going to use point slope form. And you should know this formula as well. I tell you what, you could save yourself a lot of headache if you just went ahead and memorized standard form, slope-intercept form, and point slope form, and you knew how to use them. That would be wonderful. I have a video on that, so perhaps you could search that out. But anyway, this is point slope form because what it has is the slope, and then it has a point, x1, y1 there. So we're going to, again, pick one of these points. I'm going to pick this one just for no reason. Got to pick one. So that's the y1, and this is the x1. I could have treated this as x1, and that is y1 as well. That would work either way, so you could do that. You could pick this point. But I'm going to use this one. So the y1 is going to go there. So that's the y value. It goes right there. And then, of course, the slope is negative 7/8. And then I have x minus x1. So x minus x1. So there's the minus sign and there's the x1. So it looks like that. Now, of course, you can, right off the bat, you could go ahead and change this to x plus 3 because minus a negative is a positive, right? So we do that. Now we're solving for y, so I'm going to move this negative 4 over to the other side. In other words, I'm adding 4 here, which is going to cause that to cancel, and I'm adding 4 over there. So it looks like that. So I'm almost there. That's pretty much the answer, but we wanted this in slope-intercept form. By the way, if you wanted point slope form, Actually, this one. That would be the answer in point slope form. But if we wanted slope intercept form, so what I'm going to do is put this in the form of y equals mx plus b. So I've got to distribute this. So negative 7/8 times x is negative 7/8 x, and negative 7/8 times 3 is negative 21 over 8. Because when you multiply this, you multiply negative 7 times 3, which is negative 21, and 8 times 1, that's 3 over 1, so 8 times 1 is that. So I'm almost there. So I need to add these together like I did a while ago. So I have negative 21 over 8 plus 4. And again, I'm going to multiply, think of this as 4 over 1. I'm going to multiply by 8 over 8 because I need a common denominator there. So notice that's 32. 32 over 8. Because 8 times 4 is 32, and 8 times 1 is 8. Now I'm going to add these together. And that's 11 over 8. So this is the slope-intercept form for the line that goes through those 2 points. Now that, let's see if that answer matches the answer we got a while ago. Notice it does. See, this is what we got a while ago when we did it that way. And then over here, we got the same answer. Same answer, doing it 2 different ways. So this is how to write the equation of a line given 2 points. So write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we found the slope, and then we used one of the points to find the y-intercept. And in both cases, we had to do some arithmetic with fractions. So this is not for the weak at heart. In fact, this causes a lot of students trouble just because they're not very good with fractions. So work on that. Work on adding, subtracting, multiplying integers, and work on adding, subtracting, multiplying fractions. In fact, that's really a prerequisite for Algebra 1. So if you find yourself in geometry and you're still struggling with those things, boy, you need to brush up as soon as you possibly can. Get a tutor, look at a bunch of videos, don't rest until you've mastered those concepts, because life is just going to be difficult until you master those. All right, well, hit me up in the comments if something didn't make sense here, or if you would like to see a problem solved that you have, send that to me. I'll see you later.